Here in Fiji, we are blessed with a pristine environment. So the freshest organic produce, superfoods, and the freshest seafoods are in abundance here. Today we're cooking another one of my favourite dishes here in Fiji. It's the Fijian curry. It's symbolic of how the whole migration here happened. And like every country where the Indians went, the curries adapted. But what happened here a long time ago was the spices were not here in the island. That's why Fijian cooking traditionally hasn't got a lot of spices. So when the first labourers arrived here, they discovered there was no ginger, there was no garlic, there was no chili, and there were no spices. So Fijian curries today are very much less spicy, less hot, but that makes them even more attractive and enjoyable if you don't like spicy food. This is the classic chicken curry that comes out of the villages. I call this one grandma's curry because I learned to cook this from a grandmother here. And when I tasted this curry, I was just blown away. I thought I'd tried every curry in the world, but this distinctly is a Fijian curry. So we start with some chicken. It's usually on the bone here. Chicken widely available, but the marination process is slightly different. So soy sauce. So the influences here, our diverse cultures of Chinese and Indian and the Pacific Islanders cause this fusion of flavors and foods. It takes an outsider, I guess, to realize that you guys got something really unique because we haven't tasted those combinations before. So when this grandmother was teaching me this recipe, she just thought, oh yeah, I just do that and I just do that. It was just normal for her. But then as I was watching her, I thought, I've never seen that before. And it was just circumstances. And that's how food and cooking and recipes develop in all history. All right, so you got the soy there marinating. So normally we'd put some salt and some pepper and all that sort of thing, but you can imagine in the settlements and in the villages here, they're limited with produce, and there's produce and ingredients. But you probably always find soy sauce in every Fijian kitchen, because that was the Chinese influence. Then we're just going to use a range of spices. Now, the difference is very few spices, so you can actually do this at home wherever you are in the world. But two of the key spices, saso, which is the mustard seed, and the cumin seed, jira. You'll find these two ingredients in all Fijian Indian cooking. Cooked like they did here traditionally in ghee. So this is fresh ghee, which we can still get here in the markets. It's just really strong, pure butter. And this is how traditionally they cooked here. The spices, I just want to get them to pop so all those flavors extract out. So I'm just going to let that sit there, and you can hear that popping. All the mustard seeds now are starting to release their flavors. Now we'll go in with the aromatics. Ginger, garlic, some onion, and curry leaves. Abundance of curry leaves here. Then the chicken goes in. The spices are all bubbling away. Skin on, the bone on. They say that's where the flavor is, on the bone. But I'm gonna leave the skin on. I love the skin in the cooking. The skin is where the fat is, where the natural fats, and that's where the extra flavor is. And as we're learning slowly, with all sorts of diets in the modern world, especially the keto diet, a percentage of natural fats in our diet is really good for us, especially as we age. So here in Fiji, the natural fats are always coconut milk, the ghee, and then the fats from the animals, whether it was pig fat, chicken fat, or even the fatty fish. They were the fats that helped sustain the ancient Fijians for thousands of years before the Europeans came and then introduced processed foods. When we come to the Pacific Islands, but in particular Fiji, is to learn how did the ancestors eat, because we can still eat like that here. And that's the envy of chef cooking in Fiji. Got the heat up. So what I'm doing is I'm searing the skin, trying to render a bit of this fat from the skin. That'll give me some extra flavor. Beautiful colors. And yeah, the spices in now. I've got turmeric, part of the Ayurvedic diet, great for everything. So a good spoon of turmeric. The other one is just a really simple curry powder. You can find whichever curry powder you like, keeping it simple with just 2 spices. And as I said earlier, when you have this curry, it's not so complex. It's kind of like Fijian way of life, but the subtlety of flavors are there. In so many ways, the cooking of Fiji really, really epitomizes the way of life. Simplicity, really tasty, gorgeous looking. Added some tomatoes in for the acid. And then all I'm going to do now is just drop some coconut milk in. I'm going to let that just simmer for a little while. Some dried chili, some cinnamon bark. So we started off with the very traditional. Now we're adding some extra flavor in there that wasn't around so much in those days, is now being grown. If you've never tried a Fijian curry, this is just amazing. Turn it down, give that a good 15 minutes, wait for that to cook, and I'm going to show you how we'll eat this delicious Fijian curry. All right, that's been about 15 minutes, and look at that. That is just gorgeous. So really simple curry to make, and you can do this anywhere in the world, but obviously with all the fresh produce here, this one is special. Favorite part, plating it up. It's on the bone. I always say the flavor is always close to the bone, and the colors are just amazing. But as I said earlier, it's the simplicity of this dish which really brings it all together. Coconut milk and tomatoes, virtually the base of this dish. So that's why it's easy to do. A good amount of sauce in there. All right, now the garnishing. This is the fun part. So I've got here some roasted garlic. You can go to virtually anywhere in Fiji and find someone selling some nuts. And these are the roadside nuts, I call them. Bit of fresh cilantro or coriander, spring onions. The bongo chilies here, really close to the habanero chili, pretty lethal, pretty hot. So we add them on the top, curry leaves. And then one of my favorites I add on is the Indian bhujia. These are the street snacks. And you can go virtually anywhere in Fiji and find someone is selling these little snacks, which are great. But look at the color. It's the color that just brings out this dish, Fiji. Lemon squeeze is a final touch. And there we have it. This is the Fijian chicken curry to die for. We can't wait to welcome you back to our shores.